Star on January 27, 2023. Copies of the agenda were provided to the newspaper, posted on public bulletin boards and the Township website.
Roll call.
Councilman Albanese.
Here.
Councilwoman Pontoriero.
Here.
Councilman Ambrosino.
Here.
Councilman Minikino.
Here.
Vice President Zapsik.
Here.
President DeYoung.
Here.
Thank you.
Everybody please rise for a salute to the flag, followed by a moment of silence. Please be seated. Thank you. Can I have a motion and a second, please, to approve the minutes from the February 28th meeting?
Motion.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Albanese.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pontoriero.
Yes.
Councilman Ambrosino.
Yes.
Councilman Minikino.
Yes.
Vice President Zapsik.
Yes.
President DeYoung.
Yes.
Thank you.
We have a few presentations this evening. First up is going to be for our Silver Awards. Sophia Crisso, Girl Scout Troop 1735. Come on up. Mayor Crate, would you like to do the honors?
So we welcome Sophia today. She is a Girl Scout who has earned her Silver Award. And just a little bit information about the Silver Award for those that don't know about it. It does take a great deal of effort and commitment to earn this award, and it is the highest award a Scout can earn. Here's an interesting fact. Only about 10% of Girl Scouts ever earn the Silver Award. So you're part of an elite class here in Brick Township. And it's earned after a Girl Scout comes up with an idea for a project that will make a long-lasting positive change. So, Sophia, we are going to congratulate you tonight, but first I ask if you'd like to tell us a little bit about your project.
Hi, I'm Sophia, and I wanted to spread awareness about native bees, specifically mason bees. A lot of people don't know, but they are one of the greatest pollinators, and we all know pollination is very important. Around 250 female mason bees can pollinate a whole apple orchard very quickly, and like compared to like regular honeybees, that's like a lot better. But yeah, a lot of people don't know about them, and they like to have their homes in tight crevices and like small spaces nature-wise, but you can also make them yourself by using like bamboo sticks, scrap wood, pine cones, and they'll go in there, but you could also use like paper straws, and they'll go lay their eggs, and each female is solitary, so they're each their own queen, and they'll lay their eggs. So, yeah.
Very good. Next, we have a Eagle Scout Award, Colin Pizzoro from Boy Scout of America Troop 39. Come on up.
Come on up. So tonight we are also recognizing Colin for achieving the rank of Eagle Scout, which is the highest rank a Boy Scout can achieve. Like Girl Scout Silver Award, it is a very rare achievement. Roughly 5% of eligible Scouts ever become an Eagle Scout. Since 1912, there have been around 2.5 million Eagle Scouts out of all of the young people who have been in the Boy Scouts. Some very remarkable people who have achieved Eagle Scouts, in case you are not aware. You're in company with Neil Armstrong, Supreme Court Justice Stephen Breyer, William Hanna of Hanna-Barbera, Congressman Chris Smith, and even Steven Spielberg. So you're in good company. Or actually, I should say they are in good company. So achieving this is a really great honor, and we congratulate you, and we would love for you to talk a little bit about your project.
So for my project, I cleared out a trail in Alaire State Park, and it wasn't properly marked, so it needed trail markers, and it was very blocked up by brush and debris, and I had to clear it and then put down the trail markers because it wasn't properly marked. So what I started doing was I met with Mark Schneider, who was the advisor of Alaire, and after I met with him, we went through the trail, and then I started to come up with the plan, started fundraising, got my approval from all my leaders. Then Mark had a brush hog, which is kind of like a tool. It's like a push mower kind of, but it's bigger to clear out debris. My godfather, Frank Castlegrant, also had one, and I borrowed one from him. I also needed to buy a few tools to clear out the brush. And then we came up, my plan was that I was going to start with the brush hogs, move through, and then have 2 different teams work through with the smaller equipment to get the things that the brush hog would miss, like larger debris. And yeah. Sorry, I'm having a little bit of trouble, but thank you. So we did that, and we had 2 groups. So after the first group went, the second group made sure that there was nothing else missing. After we did that, we met for lunch. We got pizza. It was great. Then we went through again and marked all of the trails. We put in the trail markers with these hand post stickers, which we would hit in, take out the sand, then put in the trail marker, and then we would use a tamper tool to tamp down all the dirt that was left out when we took it out. And we marked them, and it took me 2 days because I wasn't able to finish. And then on the second day, my friend Henry helped me finish. It took me like 2 hours, but all in all, it was a great project. I'm very glad I could help out Alaire, and yeah, it was fun.
I feel, because they're the assistants, I feel like they need a little love, right?
Absolutely.
No project is ever done well. Yeah. Oh, you did? Are you gonna take, you want to? Yeah, yeah. Do you want to get closer? Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Next, I'd like to bring up Mr. Wyatt Earp, Chair of the Meals on Wheels of Ocean County Board for the March for Meals.
So apparently this is the best part of being mayor, is that we get to give all these great proclamations and awards out. I just want to start with a little fun fact that 35,000 meals are delivered to over 350 seniors here in Brick for 2022, so that's a pretty big feat. And we are going to offer this proclamation, so I'm going to tell you a little bit about what we do here, or actually what Meals on Wheels does. On March 22nd, 1972, President Nixon signed into law a measure that amended the Older Americans Act of 1965 to include a national nutrition program for individuals 60 years and older. So for over 5 decades, this landmark law has helped to fund community-based organizations like Meals on Wheels, the only federal program designed specifically to meet the nutritional and social needs of older adults. This year, Meals on Wheels programs across the country are joining together for the March for Meals awareness campaign to celebrate its success and garner support to ensure these critical programs can continue to address food insecurity and malnutrition, combat social isolation, enable independence, and improve health for years for our seniors. In Ocean County, the Meals on Wheels program, both Community Cafe and Home Delivered, have served our communities admirable admirable, providing nutritious meals to seniors, helping maintain their health and independence. The Meals on Wheels program in Ocean County deserves recognition for the heroic contributions and essential services they have provided amid the COVID-19 pandemic and in inclement weather and other emergencies, and have continued to do so. As our senior population is increasing, action is needed to support local Meals on Wheels programs through federal, state, and local funding. Donations and raising awareness to ensure this vital service can be continued to be delivered for years to come. So I, Lisa Crate, Mayor of the Township of Brick in the County of Ocean in the State of New Jersey, do hereby proclaim March 2023 Meals on Wheels Month. Congratulations.
I just want to thank the mayor and the council, their continued support for years for their seniors in Brick. They're tremendous partners. I think there's a little bit of the theme when Sophia talked about apples and Colin talked about pizza, and now I'm talking about feeding seniors. So it's all a good thing. I'm not a scout. I'm a little older than that, but no, that's a great program, which is a wonderful thing. And so Brick recognizes their youth as they come and participate and help the town, and I want to be here. I appreciate the award, but quite frankly, I want to recognize the mayor, the council, every one of you for the support you do, and the citizens of Brick. Think about the isolation of seniors. The cafe that you spoke about that's reopened since COVID-19 is wonderful, people who can get there, but people who are home every day that don't have family, that can see them, they can live on their own. They don't need to be in an institution, but there's a lot of loneliness. So it's a great, at least once a day, somebody comes and says, and who doesn't like a meal every now and then? And isn't it wonderful that some comes, brings them a full, proper RDA, nutritious meal, that our staff does a phenomenal job making sure that that food is nutritious and proper. But the support that the town brings, and I also, Zelma and the entire senior services staff that you guys have put together in this town have been amazing. So I don't want to take a bunch of your time, but thank you, every one of you, and appreciate all the support that Brick gives to their seniors.
Thank you so much. We are going to be moving on to the highlight of our evening, our budget presentations.
Wonderful. I'm glad you think that way.
First off is going to be our business administrator, Joanne Bergen, discussing administration.
Thank you. On behalf of all the department and division heads represented in this report, thanks to our mayor and members of the Township Council for your ongoing support. I will go through the division budgets that are included under administration. There are 11 budgets and hundreds of line items. I'll first start with administration. Administration staff includes 4 full-time employees. Administration is the front line for all in-person and telephone inquiries that come to the township. They also track and ensure follow-up on all email inquiries that come to the website. Staff handled 17,399 calls in 2022. Public relations, marketing, and special events are also handled by administration, including monitoring and updating of the township's website and social media sites, including Facebook and Twitter, preparation and dissemination of press releases, and oversight of Brick Township's PEG channel, BTV. We have won several awards for our efforts to keep the public informed. Staff also manages the Buy in Brick program, which continues to grow and benefit our taxpayers. There was 644,597 Buy in Brick sales, which is dollars processed, in 2022. Resident tax savings in 2022 was $44,200. Administration also manages constituent relations and publications such as advertisements, promotional materials, recycling brochures, event flyers, and any other publications as needed. Administration manages the design and creation of our recreation brochure and senior booklet, reducing the overall cost by bringing this work in-house. Administrative staff also provide support to municipal boards and commissions. The operating budget increased by $250 as a direct result of the increased costs associated with printing the township newsletter. The next budgets I'll discuss are the mayor's office and the council budgets. The office of the mayor includes our mayor and 1 staff member. Mayor Crate maintains office hours each week. In terms of the council's budget, the salary and wage budget remains flat. The operating budget for the council totals $1,600, which is a decrease of 1% due to cancellation of dues. The council budget includes items like conferences, flowers for special events, plaques, nameplates, letterhead, business cards, presentation folders, publications, and miscellaneous office supplies. Next report is for our purchasing department. The Office of Purchasing and Contracting is a division within the Department of Administration and Finance. It is the responsibility of the Division of Purchasing and Contracting to conduct all purchasing, the acquisition of all goods and services, in accordance with the applicable laws of the state of New Jersey, more specifically NJSA 40A-11-1, the local public contracts law. The Purchasing Department operating budget for 2022 had a 3.4% increase due to postage rates. In the past year, the office processed 4,600 purchase orders, 29 bids for goods and services, 22 professional service requests for proposals, 10 capital budget projects, and 18 formal requests for quotes. The above tasks were accomplished by an office staff of 3. The office also oversees the central receiving mailroom, which includes 1 additional staff member. He has processed over 67,000 pieces of mail, plus delivery to the post office for bulk mail projects, approximately 14,000 pieces of mail, tax delinquent notices, neighborhood watch mailings, etc. He delivers mail, packages, and supplies throughout the municipal complex and all off-site locations, manages the central receiving and also the stockroom. Postage encompasses 93% of the operating budget. Human Resources is next. The HR department manages all township employees, currently 425 full-time and 169 part-time and seasonal. During the summer months, they coordinate all hiring and employee management for the approximately 150 additional employees. They create and institute HR policies and maintain compliance with state and federal laws. HR handles all employee training, including safety, the Employee Assistance Program, and other workplace trainings. All health benefits are handled by Human Resources. They coordinate with our brokers for contract proposals, renewals, rate changes, fee submissions, and compliance with federal guidelines. They handle required reporting as well as resolving claims issues. HR staff processes all liability claims with our insurance company. They ensure compliance with safety regulations and vendor insurance. Highlights and accomplishments from 2022 include implementation of UKG, which is our new payroll and HR system, COVID policies and tracking, implementation of additional employee training programs, completion of union negotiations with all 4 units, and medical claim oversight. Projects for 2023 include continued adjustments to UKG, implementation of police EMS dispatch scheduling software, continued oversight of Horizon, the development of an overall training schedule plan, scheduling mandatory supervising training, developing a new employee orientation, and revising and updating the employee handbook and safety manual. Human Resources had a 34% decrease in its operating budget. Last year, there was a one-time software program purchase that is not a recurring cost. The next department for discussion is the Office of the Township Clerk. The clerk's office is comprised of 5 full-time staff members. The Township Clerk and Assistant Clerk hold registered municipal certified clerk certifications. Every staff member is a notary public and 1 is fluent in English and Spanish. The Division of Archives also falls under the clerk. The Township Clerk's office issued over 2,000 licenses, permits, and services in 2022, totaling $479,597.09, and 1,419 dog and cat licenses, which total $27,481. The Office of Vital Statistics, which includes all records of births, deaths, and marriages, issued 4,781 certificates and 471 marriage applications, totaling $42,211. Should be noted that Governor Murphy waived the marriage license application fee for FY22. Additionally, they collected $15,140 in tourism fees, handled over 11,000 phone calls, and processed 2,005 Oprah requests. 300 landlord registrations, 250 do-not-knock registrations, and notarized numerous documents each week. The office organizes and works on annual events such as elections and the rabies clinic, where between 200 and 400 animals are vaccinated each year. In 2023, the office is moving toward more online submission forms and digitizing permits and licenses. They continue to work on the ability to receive credit card payments for online transactions. The Division of Archives manages and preserves township records and has a staff of 2 full-time employees and our archivist, who is shared with code enforcement, and who hold state and federal records management certifications. In 2022, the Archives Division scanned 391,717 pages for a total of 1,131,938 files in 26 databases. They also received authorization and destroyed 285 cubic feet and received 211 boxes from various departments. For 2023, they will continue with digital imaging, train and prepare for disaster recovery, and work with administration and IT to develop a web page featuring documents of historical significance for the community. The operating budget for the clerk's office, including archives, totals $34,825, which is down 13% from last year as a result of a decrease in advertising costs and a decrease in conference expenditures. Next is our finance department. The finance department consists of 5 full-time employees, 2 of whom are dedicated to payroll. The finance department conducts the following: creates and purchases all purchase orders, creates the current, temporary, and adopted, and capital fund budgets. They post budgets at the beginning of the year, and they do all transfers and closeout procedures at year end, creating all pertinent resolutions to process all of those items. They agree receivables to tax reports, ties general ledger appropriations and reserves to budget reports, balances all inter-funds, keeps a cash flow analysis monthly, and ties all cash receipts and disbursements in entry Excel books to posted reports. They keep a township fixed asset inventory that is added to or deleted from as necessary. They create cancellation resolutions for grants, creates Chapter 159s as needed, and enters all new grants into Edmunds. At this time, there are 58 open grants. They analyze money in the capital budget to keep track of when a band sale is needed, when needed to roll into bonds, create supplemental debt statements, create cancellation resolutions when needed, input capital chargeback, create and sign all certificates of availability of funds, and enter all new capital ordinances into Edmunds. At this time, there are 43 open ordinances. They also do all aspects of payroll processing and finance. The township has a AA3 rating due to Moody's changing their rating methodology. New Jersey as a whole was hit badly with this new methodology since they now place more weight on pension and other post-employment benefits, things that New Jersey is incapable of changing. The township is still in the AA category. Township maintained its MIG1 rating on its notes, which is short-term financing, which is the highest rating offered by Moody's. In addition, the township maintained its bond rating from Standard & Poor's of a AA. Finance Department salary and wage budget decreased by 8% as a result of staffing changes. Next up is data processing. In 2022, the IT department worked on and completed the following projects. They implemented and trained employees on a new employee self-service time and attendance payroll system known as UKG Ready. They began replacement of our old camera recording systems at Town Hall and our township parks, completed wiring for phones, computers, fax, and door access control for police department renovations in the operations division. They started the necessary wiring at the Aurora First Aid Building for senior services and EMS. They replaced or deployed over 65 desktop computers, 38 laptops, 32 tablets, and 30 cellular devices. They installed 70 Cradle Point devices in police cars to provide better, more reliable connectivity for the installed laptops. They deployed Crew Force on iPads for EMS. Crew Force is an app installed on new iPads which gives them access to call, incident data, directions, and reporting. These $800 iPads are replacing the $5,000 Tough Books we used to buy for the ambulances. They replaced our police call recording system. They replaced the township's internet firewall appliance. They deployed new body-worn camera software, fielded 3,140 help desk tickets. In 2023, IT plans on continuing the deployment of additional cameras at Windward Beach, Ocean Beach 1 and 3, Pinewood Park, Bayside Park, and Town Hall. They will continue the replacement of older camera recording services to the new Access camera station. They'll replace and deploy over 100 new desktop computers and 30 laptops. They'll add 16 additional doors to our Access control fob system, including doors in the new Aurora building. They will be deploying new help desk inventory system. They will be deploying a know-before training system for all full-time employees. They will be implementing UKG telestaff scheduling system for dispatch, EMS, and police department officers. They will replace UPS battery backup systems in the IT department and phone room, which supply power to 90% of all servers and networking equipment. They will begin running wire and setting up a network, PCs, phones, Wi-Fi, and security cameras for the new police ops building behind Town Hall. The next report covers both tax collector and tax assessor. During 2022, the tax collector's office collected more than $255 million in payments through the office. more than $2 million in cash, $123 million in checks, and $131 million in electronic payments. In addition to regular collections, we sent out nearly 11,000 delinquent notices, completed more than 2,500 senior tax freeze applications, handled more than 15,600 phone calls, processed 322,000 in tax appeals, and collected nearly $1,500 in property maintenance fees. The salary and wage line item has decreased as a result of a retirement and a new hire. The operating budget expense decreased 0.7%. The tax assessor's office, with a staff of 6, oversees almost 32,000 residential and 800 commercial properties with a total assessed value of over $10.5 billion. Last year, they placed more than $71 million of added assessed value on our tax list. Part of their responsibilities includes not only maintaining a record of specifics about a property, but also monitoring any deed recordings to assure that any changes in ownership are made in our public record. Implementing any changes to the tax maps is also the duty of the tax assessor's office. Brick Township has approximately 2,900 residents receiving senior citizen or veteran property tax deductions, which they also manage on behalf of the Division of Taxation on a yearly basis. The salary and wage budget for the tax assessor decreased by 20% with the staff vacancy, while the operating budget for 2023 was reduced by 24% in the expert services line item. The Brick Senior Services staff is next. They're staffed with 4 full-time outreach workers, 2 part-time employees, and 1 program director. Their main focus is providing advocacy, information, and assistance applying to various state benefit service programs. Staff conducts in-person evaluations in the office or at someone's home to determine eligibility for these social services programs. Full-time staff are certified state health insurance counselors, providing counseling on Medicaid issues. Brick Senior Services provides outreach services to assess the needs of our elderly population, caregivers, and assist in the coordination of services needed. Advocacy is provided when necessary. Activities and programs are offered at the Activity Center to provide opportunities related to socialization, physical health, education, and nutrition. Transportation services are provided for food, shopping, medical appointments, back and forth to the Senior Center for classes and activities, and in order to access services. New this year is the Community Cafe and Nutrition Program, and soon we will start the Dialysis Transportation Program. We are most excited for the coming year to our move to the new Senior Center at Aurora Drive. The move to the site at Aurora will eliminate the rental expense for the use of the VFW facility. In terms of revenue for 2023, Brick Senior Services has been awarded $165,500 in grant funding available through the Ocean County Board of Chosen Freeholders to deliver our program. Brick Township has also been awarded $200,000 in funds for the Dialysis Transportation Program from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. Donations in 2022 totaled $13,677, and with the generosity of sponsorships from local businesses, we are able to offset some of our expenses for the programs that are offered. The last report is for Municipal Court. The Brick Municipal Court is the second largest of the 33 municipal courts in Ocean County. Annual filings for 2022 were 10,972, which is a decrease from 2021 of 1,946 filings. This number consists of filings not only from the Brick Police Department, but also the State Police, the Ocean County Prosecutor's Office, the Division of Fish and Wildlife, Department of Weights and Measures, Marine Police, Animal Control, Code Enforcement, Zoning, Building, and private citizens for any incidents occurring in the jurisdiction of Brick Township. Court sessions are held every Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. Currently, the first and third Wednesday, the fourth Thursday, and the second Monday of each month are in-person court sessions. In addition, we hold an in-person mediation session on the second Tuesday of each month at 9 a.m. The second Monday, 9:30 a.m. court session is for code enforcement violations only. The current staff consists of the court administrator, 2 deputy court administrators, 4 additional full-time staff, and 1 part-timer. $19,640 is being requested for their 2023 operating and expense budget, which is a $2,960 increase from last year. This is due to an increase in expert services and anticipated expenses for language interpreters. This concludes my report. Any members of the council or the public that would like to go into more detail on these budgets are more than welcome to make an appointment with my office. Thank you again for all of your support, and a special thanks for the department and division heads who work so well serving the public. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Bergen. Any questions on the presentation only from the council? Seeing none, any questions from the public on the administration presentation that Mrs. Bergen just put forth? Seeing none, thank you, Mrs. Bergen. You're done. I would now like to bring up the chief to present on the police department. Chief Forrester.
Good evening. The Department of Public Safety is comprised of several areas of responsibility. In addition to police services, the department is also responsible for the management of communication operators, Class 1 special law enforcement officers, emergency medical services, emergency management, crossing guards, and a number of community-oriented programs such as the Police Cadets, DARE program, the Not Even Once program, Lead and Seed, CERT, which is our Community Emergency Response Team, Neighborhood Watch, as well as a number of other programs which are designed to bring our department and the community closer together. The department is currently staffed with 276 employees, because on Friday we hired 6 more Class 1 specials. So it's 276 employees. That includes 141 sworn officers, 23 full-time and 4 part-time communication operators, 28 full-time and 23 part-time EMS personnel, 16 crossing guards, 20 Class 1 special police officers, 1 civilian deputy emergency management coordinator, 1 radio tech, 1 fleet maintenance worker, and 13 full-time and 5 part-time civilian staff in police records and administrative roles. Part-time staff members are used to support the full-time staff members, as well as to reduce overtime costs. In 2022, there were 94,807 calls for service. This included 1,610 fire calls and 10,998 EMS calls. As you know, in 2020, we were faced with a unique set of challenges brought on by the COVID-19 pandemic. The effects continued into 2021 and 2022, negatively impacting the health of our staff. COVID-19 positive cases made it difficult to maintain proper staffing levels, which resulted in increased cost, specifically in the area of overtime. Despite these challenges, our department continues to handle the crisis professionally and tirelessly. And despite the risks, our officers are doing whatever is required to serve the residents of Brick Township. We continue to do what is necessary to reduce the need for overtime whenever possible. I will go through the department's budget and highlight any significant changes. Some adjustments were made taking into consideration the previous year's spending or necessary expenditures. The first area we will discuss is the main police budget. The salaries of our civilian and administrative personnel are also included in this line item. This year, the regular salary requested is $21,458,770, and overtime request is $1,250,000. In 2022, we budgeted for $1,150,000 for police overtime and spent $1,229,102, which is $79,102 over budget. It should be noted that our department incurred unanticipated costs throughout the year associated with 4 large-scale events. We had the animal cruelty hoarding case, which cost us $27,934. The January 22 snowstorm, which cost us $27,213. We had a CERT call out for an intoxicated individual with a gun. It cost us $13,945. And COVID-19 related staffing costs of $40,415. These 4 events totaled $109,507 in overtime. Although I do not anticipate a significant increase in overtime spending this year, I need to plan for unforeseen situations in which I just described. Despite the unanticipated events and COVID-19 expenses our department has faced, we managed to remain well under budget for the past 5 out of 6 years. The police supervision and command staff will continue to be conscientious of the need to reduce and keep overtime costs under budget. The police general operating budget includes uniforms, firearms equipment, training, accreditation, boat and bike equipment, and radio repair expenses. In 2022, the budget was $247,500. Of that, we expended $244,309, which is $3,191 less than budgeted. This year, we are asking for $246,250, a decrease of $1,250. The next area is Class 1 Special Law Enforcement Officers. We currently have 20 Class 1 Special Officers who perform year-round parking enforcement, traffic details, booking officers, municipal court security officers, and security for in-person township meetings such as the Board of Adjustment, Planning Board, and council meetings. In 2022, we allocated $340,000 in salaries and spent $271,066. In 2023, we are asking for $300,000. The overtime budgeted in 2022 was $10,000, of which we spent $6,616. In 2023, we will be allocating $10,000 for overtime. One other line item in the Class 1 Special Law Enforcement Officers budget is for uniforms and equipment. In 2022, we allocated $9,000 for uniforms and equipment, and in 2023, we are requesting $9,500 in anticipation of hiring additional officers, bringing us up to a full complement. The next area we will discuss is the communication operators, also known as dispatchers. In 2022, $1,695,000 was allocated for salaries, and we spent $1,398,423. This year, we are requesting $1,714,000 for salaries and anticipating of hiring additional dispatchers. In 2022, we budgeted $250,000 for overtime, and we spent $215,247, which was $34,743 less than what we budgeted for. In 2023, we will be allocating $250,000 for overtime and $6,100 for operating expenses, which mainly covers training costs. The next budget is emergency management. Last year, we budgeted $60,000 for OEM salaries. This year, we will be allocating $63,270. It should be noted that a portion of the salary is paid for by grant monies which are received at different times throughout the year. In 2022, we budgeted $500 for OEM overtime, of which none was spent. In 2023, the OEM overtime budget will be eliminated. The only other item in the OEM budget is $500 to be used for training, which will remain the same. The next area is police cadets. The program currently has 16 participants who are overseen by 2 of our officers who are the program counselors. This program gives children ages 14 to 18 from our community an opportunity to interact with the police in a positive way, while at the same time giving them a chance to see if they want to pursue a career in law enforcement. In 2022, we budgeted $3,000, of which $2,399 was spent. The budgeted amount this year will remain the same at $3,000. Those monies are used for expenses such as annual dues, uniforms, competitions, and costs associated with police camp. Next budget is police vehicles. These monies are used to replace aging vehicles, which are used by the patrol division. In most cases, the older patrol vehicles, which are still serviceable, are repurposed in non-patrol units within the department. In 2022, we budgeted $330,750 and spent $327,140. For 2023, the requested amount is $399,750, $68,000 increase from 2022 due to the price increases of vehicles and the equipment that goes inside them. The equipment installation cost has also increased. Next area to discuss is emergency medical services. Last year, we budgeted $2,225,000 for salaries and $250,000 for overtime. This year, we were asking that we get $2,414,973 be budgeted for salaries and $265,000 for overtime. The EMS operating budget was $286,800. Of that amount, $236,585 was spent, which is $50,215 less than what we budgeted for. This year, we were asking that $320,100 be budgeted, which is a $33,300 increase. The increase is in anticipation of rising costs associated with medical supplies, protective clothing, and maintenance contracts. We also plan on hiring 4 more full-time EMS personnel. Next are the crossing guards. Last year, we budgeted $480,000 in crossing guard salaries and $5,000 in overtime. In 2023, we are asking for $490,000 be budgeted for salaries and $5,000 for overtime. For the operating budget, we are asking for $14,600 for uniforms and safety equipment. This is a $3,453 increase from last year due to our need to hire 2 new crossing guards and for the replacement of traffic vests, jackets, lighted batons, and cones. That concludes the budget presentation for the Brick Township Police Department. I would like to take this opportunity to thank the mayor, members of council, and the business administrator for your continued support. Without your support, we wouldn't have one of the best departments in the nation. This administration has always made sure that we have the resources necessary to do our job. I would also like to thank the men and women of my department who work hard each and every day to keep our residents safe.
Thank you, Chief. Council, any questions on the budget presentation only? Oh my gosh. No? Public, any questions for the budget, police budget presentation? Yes, come on up. Sorry, let me unplug the phone.
I kind of feel outnumbered, but I'll
Can't
go
call
ahead
now.
anyway. Should I start with a quick joke? Keep it light? Where do rainbows go when they're bad? They go to prison. But don't worry, it's a light sentence. I got to get them in a good mood so they don't beat me up for my questions. I only have 4 questions, and 3 of them are relatively easy. 94,000. Oh, by the way, thank you. I had no trouble hearing you. You have a nice deep voice. The 94,807 calls, is that more or less than last year? In the last year's presentation, that was in there.
It was more. I believe last year it was maybe 86,000. I don't have the exact number. I could get it for you, though.
Okay, could you do that? Just give it to Joanne.
Well, last year, I'm sorry, was 94,000. You mean in 2021?
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe it was 86 and change, but I'll get you the exact number.
Okay. Number 2 was, back here it says hiring additional officers to bring us up. Is that the ones you talked about, or is that more officers? What are we talking about?
For which one?
141 sworn.
Yes, the specials, we lost 1. 1 resigned, and then we hired 6 more on Friday.
That was specials.
Yes.
I'm talking about sworn officers. Is that number 141 where you're supposed to be, or are you looking to hire more of those?
We're looking to hire more.
How many?
5. By the end of the year, we're looking for 5 more.
Can I just interject Very quickly, so the number on the roster has not changed. They're down officers at this time. So the number that the council has approved for the police department to have as officers is unchanged.
I
This
thought I
is-
was 145, is that right?
Right, so if he's saying 141, then we're short 4.
4. I think you said 6.
Well, the
No, I was talking about, I'm sorry,
special-
6 for the special police
specials.
officers.
Yeah, so we're mixing the two.
After 5 years, you'll get used to me, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Also, you said you were hiring additional dispatchers. How many additional dispatchers are we looking for?
Up to 4. I would say up to 4, yes.
Is that because of the increase in calls? Because I'm assuming that COVID is going to diminish somewhat.
No, it's all, for dispatchers, we're always trying. That's a tough competitive field. Other departments tend to steal off each other and and they use pay and stuff to go. So sometimes computer dispatchers are tough to keep. So, but yeah, we're definitely looking to hire more.
But is that an increase in the number of dispatchers or just replacement?
It's just replacement.
Replace it.
That's a good answer. And my last question is a little harder to answer. In overtime, $27,000 on a snowstorm.
Yes.
I can probably envision that, all right? Although this year, so far,
Fingers crossed.
I don't want to say
Right,
anything.
right.
I don't want to say it
Right.
so far. So we should have a lot of money in the so far budget.
We still have November and December of 2023.
Huh?
November, December 2023.
Come on, when was the last time we had a major snowstorm in November?
Playing the devil's advocate.
This is
Sandy?
not California.
Sandy?
Come on, this is not California. Okay, so I could picture $27,000 in snowstorm. What I'm having a hard time stuck right here is $27,000 for animal cruelty hoarding case. I'm assuming that's one case that we all read about. But how did we spend $27,000 in police overtime on that?
Yeah, that was a large scale event. That site was considered a crime scene. They actually had to excavate the backyard. We had to call in a lot of additional resources. Yeah, it was a very costly case. A lot of manpower was needed. Like I said, there's 181 crates that had to be removed from the house.
Okay.
All these things, we had to make sure the house and the scene was safe for our officers to go inside. So there was a lot more to that case than you can imagine.
We've also made a request to the Ocean County Prosecutor's Office because those individuals who committed those crimes are being prosecuted by the Prosecutor's Office, and part of what we're seeking at sentencing is reimbursement of those funds as part of their, sentencing after conviction.
Try to get some of the money back?
Correct.
Okay, well, let me make a suggestion. I don't want to tell anybody, especially somebody new, how to do their job, right? I understand the whole hoarding thing. I understand about all the animals. But what we have is high-paid police officers doing stuff that involves dogs and cats or whatever, animals. Now, I know we have animal control. I know we have ASPCA. I know we have all these places to take these dogs and everything. Having police officers handling that kind of thing, my way of thinking as a taxpayer is not a good use of taxpayer money, right? I don't know, which officers did it. I don't know, we have police officers making $100,000 a year. My way of thinking, having them handling dog crates and all of that stuff is not the good use of taxpayers' money. Somebody else should be doing that. And I know that there seemed to be like a rush to get all those animals gone out of there. There really wasn't a need for a rush. They've been in there for a long time, dragging it out over several weeks to do it. It's just,
Yeah, I don't,
and I tell you what, if I was a police officer handling crappy dog cages, that probably ain't what I signed up for either.
well, we have HELO officers, humane law enforcement officers, and that is their mission. That is what they do, protect the animal welfare, and they were all there, and so were other. It was a crime scene, as Chief Forrester said. It was an active crime scene, and it was significantly traumatic to the public, and it was a public health hazard on top of it. So the police had to do what the police had to do. We're seeking reimbursement for that.
Just my way of thinking, and then
Okay.
I'll shut up.
Anything else, Mr. Finelli?
That does not compare to an intoxicated individual with a gun. I mean, you can call it a crime scene, and it was a crime scene, right? And, but, you know, you have got an individual with a gun, that's a crime scene. That requires a lot of police handling a bunch of animals. In my opinion, that's the wrong use of...
Thank you, Mr.
high-paid manpower.
Finelli. Anybody else from the public on the budget presentation only? Thank you. Thank you, Chief. Appreciate the time. First one over. Thank you so much for Mrs. Bergen and Chief Forrester for their budget presentations this evening. And we are moving on to our consent agenda. Madam Clerk.
Yes, thank you. All matters listed under item consent agenda will be enacted by one motion in the form listed below. If discussion is desired on any item, this item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately.
Very good, thank you. Resolution 5-1.
Recognize Patrolman Chris DeMarco, Office of the Year Award recipient.
Councilman Minikino.
Thank you. This resolution recognizes Brian Gordon as the recipient of the Christopher DeMarco Officer of the Year Award. Officer Gordon currently serves as a patrolman in the afternoon shift, whereas a field training officer. He is tasked with training new officers with the requirements and demands of the job. In addition to his role as patrolman and field training officer, Officer Gordon is also a member of the department's Special Emergency Response Team. Officer Gordon will receive an award at the PBA dinner later this month. Thank you.
Resolution 5-2.
Recognize Lieutenant Thomas McNellis, Award recipient.
Councilwoman Pontorero.
Thank you, Madam President. This resolution recognizes Detective Ryan Talty as the recipient of the Lieutenant Thomas McNellis Leadership and Achievement Award. Detective Talty is the department's counterterrorism liaison and is a member of the Special Emergency Response Team. Detective Talty's dedication, commitment, and professionalism was previously recognized when he was named Officer of the Year by PBA Local 230 in 2014. Detective Talty will also receive this award at the PBA Awards dinner later this month. Thank you.
Thank you. 5-3.
Urge state to restore school funding to support Brick Township schools and students.
Mayor Kreitz.
Thank you. This resolution demands that Governor Murphy and the state legislature take immediate action to restore school funding to Brick schools that will enable the continuation of a world-class education for our students. Last week, we received word that state aid funding for Brick schools will be cut by $2.54 million. This cut is on top of the $4.7 million in funding that was cut last year. Thank you.
Thank you. 5-4.
Authorize award of contract mobile ice cream truck.
Councilwoman Zapsik.
Thank you, Council President. This resolution authorizes an award of contract in the amount of $3,500 to Cool Concessions, LLC, for exclusive rights as a mobile ice cream vendor truck at Township Parks. The award is for 1 year. Bid notices were provided to 11 prospective bidders from our bidders list. 5 picked up bid packages, and 1 bid was received. Thank you.
Thank you. 5-5.
Authorize award of contract through the Educational Services Commission of New Jersey Cooperative Pricing System, installation of plumbing system at Aurora Place.
This resolution authorizes an award of contract to Magic Touch Construction in Keyport in the amount of $272,192.22 for the installation of a plumbing system at the new senior center located on Aurora Place. This contract is being awarded through a cooperative purchasing agreement with the Educational Services Commission of New Jersey. 5-6.
Authorize change order number 2, Police Department Special Operations Garage.
Councilman Ambrosino.
Thank you, Council President. This resolution authorizes a change order increase in the amount of $39,936.91 for several items. The first is the movement of circuits over to auxiliary power so that EMS vehicles can be charged during a power outage. It's very important. Movement of wall packs to the rear of the building to eliminate glare towards the municipal building. installation of a new circuit for the Plymovent system, and installation of a new concrete curb for safety. Thank you.
Thank you. Resolution 5-7.
Authorize participation in the New Jersey Coastal Coalition.
Councilman Minikino.
Thank you. This resolution authorizes participation in New Jersey Coastal Coalition, whose mission is to build more resilient communities and for the Jersey Shore, and developing policies and practices which will anticipate future concerns and to create solutions. Participation in the Jersey Coastal Coalition provides the township with a networking of shared resources and opportunities which can better prepare the township and its residents for future flood events. Participation is at no cost of the township. Thank you.
Resolution 5-8.
Authorize shared services agreement with County of Ocean fiscal year 23 Sheriff's Traffic Enforcement Program grant.
Councilman Ambrosino.
Thank you, Council President. This resolution authorizes a shared services agreement with the County of Ocean for the fiscal year 23 Sheriff's Office Traffic Enforcement Program. Participation in this grant program will allow the township to be reimbursed for overtime expenses incurred by our police department at an hourly rate not to exceed $70 per hour for traffic enforcement activities. Thank you.
Resolution 5-9.
Authorize intergovernmental agreement with County of Ocean construction of a hurricane and storm damage reduction project.
Council Vice President Zabka.
Thank you, Council President. This resolution authorizes an intergovernmental agreement with the County of Ocean to cover Brick Township's $486,236.11 share of the estimated beach nourishment costs. The county will pay the funds directly to the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection. Thank you.
Thank you. Resolution 5-10.
Authorize renewal of mobile home park license JSM at Martin Boulevard LLC, Mobile Home Park.
Councilwoman Pontorero.
Thank you, Council President. This resolution authorizes the renewal of a mobile home park license to JSM at Martin Boulevard LLC for the mobile home park located at Route 88 and Jack Martin Boulevard.
Resolution 5-11.
Authorize plenary liquor licenses.
Councilman Albanese.
Thank you, Council President. A, new plenary retail consumption liquor license, Barnegat Bayside Services LLC, for premises located at 5 Manalocan Road, Brick. B, place-to-place transfer plenary retail consumption license, ZMRA LLC, Manalocan Roadhouse. This resolution allows for the approved outdoor patio area to be included in the license.
Resolution 5-12.
512A is an inspection fund release for the Board of Fire Commissioners District Number 2 for Folsom Firehouse on Jordan Road in the amount of $4,173.08. And B is a maintenance bond release for Starbucks on Brick Boulevard in the amount of $20,625.
Resolution 5-13.
13A is a tax overpayment for 2023 at Block 36, Lot 18, in the amount of $417.97. And 13B are tax overpayments for the years 2018, 19, and 20. State appeals for Block 924, Lot 7, which totals $41,652 for the 3-year period.
Thank you. This ends our consent agenda. Can I have a motion and a second, please?
Motion.
Second.
Open to council. Close to council. Open to public on the consent agenda only. Come on up, Mr. Farrell, Dr. Farrell.
Good evening, Mayor Crate, Ms. Bergen, council members. We have most of our board members here this evening. I know our board president would love to have been here this evening. She's actually out of state visiting her granddaughter. I'm Thomas Farrell. I'm the superintendent of schools here in Brick, and I want to thank the town council for the resolution this evening, advocating for our schools and urging the state to restore adequate school funding for students of Brick. This is the time a year ago, where we heard about 2 weeks ago, where the state budget's proposed and legislators determine what our state's funding priorities should be. Inevitably, there's winners and losers. And Brick, the last few years, has been on the losing side. Just a couple of little stats I want to share with the town council. Over the last 5 years, the state of New Jersey's fiscal budget has gone from about 33 or 32 billion to 53 billion, an increase of 40+%. And Brick's schools budget has only gone up about 6.9%, while our state aid that's been afforded Brick over that same time period has been reduced 49%, $23 million. We're in the perfect storm, as I've said at our last board meeting fiscally. State aid to us affected S2 districts has been reduced at an exorbitant rate that far outpaces what we can replenish annually and put back. These are dire times financially, and Brick Schools is bleeding budgetarily. And where's the money going? It's not coming here to Brick. And it seems like many districts such as Brick and some other local districts such as Toms River and Jackson and Lacey, other districts in Ocean County, we're simply running out of time. So the time is now for us to advocate for our efficient and effective school districts that are left far behind due to S2. We cannot allow the Department of Ed's education malpractice and Trenton's insouciance to continue. So I encourage everybody to on our website, I believe was posted today, a white paper report I've been working on for about the last month that I've shared out with many people, the media as well. That could be a mechanism to not only educate yourselves on the budgeting process and the history of school funding, but maybe open your eyes to the inequities that exist right now and the paradox that exists right now in the state of New Jersey when it comes to school funding. So it's kind of a call to action for our community so that our students here in Brick aren't left behind. Thank you.
Anyone else from the public? Mr. Finelli?
Now for the flip side. 2 questions. Item 11 is a liquor license renewal for 5 Manalocan Road, and it sounds like that's been on inactive status since 2016. My question is, has it been, and is there any time limit on how a license can stay inactive? The only reason I'm asking is because if it's inactive since 2016, somebody else could have that liquor license, could use it. They're not.
They purchased it, they just did not complete the criminal background check.
In 2016?
They own it. They just didn't do the paperwork.
So that's the answer to my first question. My second question is there any time limit on how long the license stays inactive? Well, not the same, somebody else could too. They could have that license.
Every 2 years, they do have to get a special ruling from the ABC if they renew for 2 renewal cycles in the inactive status. They do need a special ruling from the ABC, but generally speaking, those are issues.
So there's nothing in the township?
No, in the township, no.
It took 7 years to do background check? What do they call it? Okay, my other one is the topic we just talked about, the resolution. How many times has the township given a resolution to the letter? First time, second time?
4 times? I think 3 or 4 maybe. We've done it a few times, I remember.
I think it's been every year it's been cut. I think we do it.
Every year, so we've done it 6 years and 6 years. Something like that. Okay.
Done it a few.
Here's my thoughts on that. You know the definition of stupidity, right? Doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. If you are expecting them to do something, and I know you used the word demand a lot in the resolution, somebody might demand something from me, I tell them that they can do what they demand, but that's just my personal opinion. If you've written 5 or 6 letters, do you think the government is even going to read it? Do you think anything's going to change if you've done it 5 or 6 times? You're going to have to do something else. I I don't know what that something else is, right? So I'm gonna talk about it at the school board meeting, what I think they should do. I'm not gonna do it here, but I'm gonna talk about it Thursday at the school board meeting. But I don't know what,
You know, sometimes the point of a resolution isn't just to, as we put in here for the governor, sometimes it's also a call to action for members of our community. So it isn't just, there's more than one purpose for it, and I think now it's really being drawn to the attention of the community and people who have children in our schools, and we're just hoping to assist the school in that, getting the word out.
I'm gonna argue with you, but you think that is wrong.
Well,
Because it's been going on for 6 or 7 years, and there's one or two people that go to the school board meetings and the town council meetings. And nobody else has been talking about it for 6 or 7 years at those meetings. The people involved, no, I don't have any kids in the school, I never will. Hey, but I'm a taxpayer, I'm a big taxpayer. People don't care, they're not here, they're not talking about it, they don't go to school board meetings, they don't talk about it, so they really don't care. But you people, this, you know, the school falls into your bailiwick. You're gonna have to do something different than write a letter. That's my thoughts. That's my opinion, okay? You're gonna have to do something different than that. Now, what have you done
Excuse me?
to hurt the school district? Last year, you approved the sports complex over there, 30 years of tax money going to the township and none to the schools. So if you're really concerned about the money for the school district, I wouldn't laugh about it, because I'm not laughing, then you ought to think about every time you do something like that, how that affects these people. And the second thing you did was what we talked about at the last meeting, Brenton Woods. Saved a few trees. I don't think there was any discussion going on about how much money it costs the school district by doing that. But I told you the tax is about $590,000 a year. They would get about half of that over the 40 years that you bonded that, $60 million. That's $30 million out of their pocket. And I don't think you thought about that, how that impacts the schools. When you're so concerned about money, if you really are concerned, start acting like it and not just talking about it.
Thank you, Mr. Finelli. Anybody else? Mr. Sluka.
John Sluka, 950 Sylvia Court. I was sort of skipping over one part because of who was here today, and I still have the same problem. This $2.3 million cut they got this year is, what?
It's 2.45.
Whatever.
It's a
It's
lot of
only 1/6 to 1/7 of what they cut so far from that budget. And I mentioned at this meeting a few times, and Mr. Finelli brought it up, the sports dome. We decided as a community to keep the money to ourselves so we could spend it in a town, but the kids of the school district need it at least as much as you people need it. And I can't understand why that wasn't split equitably. And I don't think it's equitable when you turn around and say, we take 95%, the county gets 5%, and school district gets 0. If it was a taxable, real taxable property before this thing was done, they would have got 55% of it. The money should be going to the kids. You know, I'm a little beyond school age, so I'm probably not going to make much use of it. But it's wrong. And Mr. Finelli brought it up, and it's absolutely wrong. You guys got to reconsider that. And whether you do a resolution or change or whatever, it's just not right. That's what I brought up because, and then the word putting demand in a letter, the state government improved to us over the last 6 years. They don't care about us. So the word demand, you can put any word you want in it. If they're going to read it, they're going to laugh at you. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I yield
Anybody
back
else from
3
public?
minutes and 30 seconds.
Yes.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, and Administration. My name is Charlie Bacon. I reside at 366 Rancocas Drive. I'm here to talk about Resolution 5.3. I want to compliment the superintendent and the attendees from the Board of Ed for coming out today and supporting it. And they actually solidify the point I want to make about this resolution. I have a few questions. I'll direct them through the President of the Council, and if they have to be deferred, I understand. Who actually wrote this resolution?
You want to ask all your questions first, and then we'll answer?
If you like, that's fine. That's one of the questions. Was the Board of Ed consulted in writing this resolution? You talk about the funding formula being unfair. I agree with everybody in this room, especially the superintendent. Have you seen the funding formula before you wrote this resolution? I believe after multiple lawsuits against the governor, it was finally released in early 2021. 3 years past S2 being enacted into law, by the way. And a little history lesson on S2, it was passed into law in July of 2018. So I have a couple questions, and Mr. Finelli brought one of these up, about what kind of stuff has come through either the mayor or the council that went to the governor's office. We're not quite sure. I understand that. I did find one. I don't know if it was the first one, and it probably wasn't the last one. And it was in September 10th of 2019. 14 months after this law was enacted, was the first piece of a resolution I saw coming out of this council to talk about the hardship of S2. Now, what intrigues me with that is 14 months after it was passed, was that the first one or not? I don't know. Why was the delay of 14 months? In case you don't know, the original components of this law was earmarking to take $23 million away from our school district. And we talk about each fiscal year, a percentage of that going down. What happens after that's fully enacted into law? We lose $23 million forever. So I have a couple recommendations, and I know we want to pass this resolution. I fully support it. I want to go on record of that, because I've been misquoted before, and I don't want any of that back in the press or in letters going out to everybody in this community. All right? There's several things that I think should be done about this resolution. The first section of this, we talk about the amount of money being lost, about $2.54 million. I did not ask one other question. I apologize. Was that part of S2? I assume it was, but I'm not sure. Was that part of the, or is this on top of the $23 million we're losing? Can anybody answer that? That should be rewritten. If we're going to write something for call to action, Mayor, or it's going to the governor, or to any other news outlet, then let's make it the most powerful document we can make. And thank you, Superintendent, for bringing those facts to light, because I'm not even sure how much money we've lost. So that I recommend be rewritten. A whole nother section should be added to what the superintendent just said. That's important stuff. You want to get this in front of somebody and in the press, let's put some meat behind it. Yes, we can talk about the 2.54, but we don't mention the 23 million we're losing. And by the way, we're not an Abbott district. We have constraints on how much they can raise in taxes. So where do you think those cuts are coming from? And, well, I'm listening to everybody, and I appreciate that. The one other thing, and I spoke to the board about COVID-19, and recently, back in November, about the devastation of COVID-19, as well as the pilot program that was enacted here, right? And one of the things I spoke to them about coming out of COVID-19, which I should have added to this before this meeting, was the impact that has coming out of that. We're going to need more money to support our children in this school. Does anybody have a clue what this has done to our children? What it's done to our test scores? Moving people on into secondary or vocational programs without the proper support coming out of COVID-19. I don't give a rat's ass about S2. What I give a rat's about is our children. I do not have children in this district. I never will again. I speak on behalf of the citizens. Other thing I want to mention, since this is education, if I'm okay to go beyond the 5 minutes, is this is an education thing. And you mentioned in this resolution about it going to the District 10 legislator. I support that as well. Here's my homework assignment for somebody in the administration or maybe the press that's here. is to check after this resolution, if it's passed tonight, ask them how many things have they proposed in subcommittees, or did they even get to the governor's desk on things about our children, about the S2 law and things like that. You have another meeting in 2 weeks. I'd really like to come back to this meeting in front of this group and ask you those numbers. Because you're going to be astonished as how much stuff has gone to the subcommittees, never got out of committee, never got to the governor's desk. These are our children. So I recommend that this be pulled because we don't have caucus meetings, and incorporate some of the great things that people have talked about tonight and represent this with more facts and more power behind it.
Thank you.
Thank you
Anybody
very
else
much.
from public? Seeing none, close public roll call.
Councilman Albanese.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pontorero.
Yes.
Councilman Ambrosino.
Yes.
Councilman Minikino.
Yes.
Vice President Zapsik.
Yes.
President DeYoung.
Yes.
Thank you.
We're now going on to resolution 514, authorize appointment of council member. Mr. Starkey, could I have you explain the process one more time?
Of course. I think it was the last meeting, Mayor Crate was appointed to the mayor's seat. She previously sat on the council. When she became mayor, that automatically created a vacancy on the council. The method of filling that vacancy is set out in state law. That is that the Democratic Municipal Committee makes 3 nominations. Those nominates 3 people and presents them to the council. That has been done. There have been 3 names presented, and it is now up to the council to make a choice from among those 3 nominees to fill that council seat. The person who takes that seat will remain there until the November's election, actually till the end of the term, which is the end of this year, when someone will be elected to take that seat for the full term that follows.
Very good. And the council was presented with 3 names, Erica DeMeo, Melissa Travers, and Emma Mamano. Can I have a nomination for member of council?
Yes, Council President, I'd like to nominate Melissa Travers for that seat, please.
Can I have a motion and or any other nominations? May I have a motion and a second?
Second.
Motion first.
Motion.
Second. Very good. Roll call.
Councilman Albanese.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pontorero.
Yes.
Councilman Ambrosino.
Yes.
Councilman Minikino.
Yes.
Vice President Zapsik.
Yes.
President DeYoung.
Yes.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Moving on to Bill Resolution Computer 2023. Madam Clerk.
Be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Brick that the following bills be paid and that the mayor and clerk be and are hereby authorized to draw orders on the treasurer for the amounts of the same. Computer bill resolution in the amount of $10,901,166.
Very good. Can I have a motion and a second?
Motion.
Second.
Open to council? Close council. Open to public for questions on the computer bills only. Seeing none, close public. Roll call.
Councilman Albanese.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pontorero.
Yes.
Councilman Ambrosino.
Yes.
Councilman Minikino.
Abstain Teamsters and yes to the rest.
Vice President Zapsik.
Yes.
President DeYoung.
Yes.
Thank you.
Moving on to Bill Resolution Manual 2023.
Be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Brick that the following bills be paid and that the mayor and clerk be and are hereby authorized to draw orders on the treasurer for the amounts of the same. Manual bill resolution in the amount of $1,915,179.64.
Can I please have a motion and a second?
Motion.
Open to council. Close council. Open to public on manual bill only. Seeing none, close public. Roll call.
Councilman Albanese.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pontorero.
Yes.
Councilman Ambrosino.
Yes.
Councilman Minikino.
Yes.
Vice President Zapsik.
Yes.
President DeYoung.
Yes. We are now going into ordinance on first reading. There is no public hearing on the first readings. 6-1.
An ordinance of the Township of Brick, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, amending the Township Code of the Township of Brick in Chapter 324, peddling and soliciting.
Very good. I'm to Councilman Menachino.
Thank you. The Township Council Land Use and Budget, Business and Finance Committees are recommending amending this ordinance to allow for 10 Class 2 food trucks in the township. Class 2 licenses allowed food trucks to stay put in one location. The number of food trucks in this category was previously limited at 7. These food trucks can only be parked where they have the owner's permission and required approval by traffic safety, code enforcement, and zoning. There are 3 trucks on the waiting list at this time. However, if an inquiry comes in from a veteran who must produce a county veteran's ID card, he or she would be granted automatic approval. None of these trucks have approval to be on township property because they have agreements with an ice cream vendor and other vendors at township events. Thank you.
Thank you. May I have a motion and a second?
Motion.
Second.
Open to council on the resolution, or on the ordinance. Okay, roll call, please.
Councilman Albanese.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pontoriero.
Yes.
Councilman Ambrosino.
Yes.
Councilman Menachino.
Yes.
Vice President Zapsik.
Yes.
President DeYoung.
Yes.
Thank you.
Ordinance on first reading, 6-2.
An ordinance of the Township of Brick, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, authorizing the acceptance of the donation of property known as Block 673, Lot 44, for no consideration.
Councilwoman Zapsik.
Thank you, Council President. The Township Council's Land Use Committee is recommending accepting donation of this property. The owners of Block 673, Lot 44, reached out to the township to donate the parcel. It is marshland and cannot be built on. This property has the added benefit of a prime location for the reuse of dredge materials. The property is located behind Cedar Bridge Manor. It is 3.2 acres, but 1/3 of it is in the water. It will also add acreage to our open space preservation areas that enhances our CRS points. Thank you.
Thank you. Motion and a second.
Motion.
Second.
Open to council. Close council. Roll call.
Councilman Albanese.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pontoriero.
Yes.
Councilman Ambrosino.
Yes.
Councilman Menachino.
Yes.
Vice President Zapsik.
Yes.
President DeYoung.
Yes.
Thank you.
Now we're into our ordinance on second reading, 7-1.
An ordinance of the Township of Brick, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, amending Chapter 168 to authorize and establish requirements and fees applicable to municipal dredging permits.
Councilman Ambrosino.
Thank you, Council President. The township has invested time and money into the development of a permit application that was recently approved by the state that allows for individual property owners to contract for dredging. This permit application alone saves each and every lagoon property owner significant time and money. The table's been set for individual property owners to proceed with dredging their slips with the simple process of receiving a permit from the township to do so, from our engineering department. This ordinance establishes the requirements for a dredge permit and the applicable fees. Thank you.
Thank you. Motion and a second.
Motion.
Second.
Open to council. Close council. Open to public on this ordinance only.
I'm probably the only one here that lives on the water. So I have a lot of questions about this one. First question is, why are we doing this now? Second question is, how do you determine what the fee is? $400. Third question is, how would this apply to the recent dredging that went on at Jekyll, did I say that right, in the Jekyll Beach?
Yep.
How would that apply to over there? How do you determine how much dredge is actually removed? How do you measure that? Because inside of this $400, if I read the thing right, not only do you have to pay the $400, but you have to pay a fee depending on how much material you move. So how do you judge that? That's my question so far on that. So first question is, why are you doing it now?
Why now? How the fee? Dredge at Nageco? How much dredge?
Yeah.
Can you want to just go through them real quick?
Be happy to. So why now? Because it took us we've been working on this project for a long time. The need to dredge these private lagoons and areas is enormous, and we would get requests to do it all the time. So much so that it would be its own capital budget just to do the dredging that's requested. So, and these are private lagoons that are to the benefit of only the people that live on the lagoons. So they're not, we don't look at them as public waterways, nor are we obligated to do the dredging. So to facilitate and assist these lagoon property owners that desperately want to be dredged, we went ahead and processed the ability to have a permit process to make it easier for them just to come to town hall and fill out an application and then go about the business of contracting. Because without this, they have to go to the state, they have to go through everything that we went through to get the township. So that's why now, because it took us this long to get to this point after years of hard work. The next one?
E.
Oh, my pen ran out of ink, I'm sorry. So there's one other town that does this, and we spoke to them about their fees. We want to keep the fees minimal, knowing that the residents who take advantage of this process will still have to pay for the dredging. So we weren't looking at this as a moneymaker, but really to offset the costs that are involved in our end in managing a project of this scope.
Dredge at Nageco, how did it?
So Nageco was part of a one and only pilot program where they allowed the township to go ahead with that project before this permit was in place. So when the state came to us and said, we'll allow you to do a pilot, we started with Nageco because that was the one that we had heard from the most over the years about the need for dredging. And they were ready to do it, and they were assessed to do it. So for a property owner who takes advantage of this program now and dredges, they will pay, just like Nageco paid when they had theirs done, but it was done through special assessment.
How do we determine the dredge spoils?
So that's going to be done by the professional who does the dredging. So they'll be required to do bathymetric surveys that tell what the depth is and how much they need to dredge. That will be part of their application to the township. And then at the end of that, they'll provide reports on how much materials were removed.
Have you ever had an individual homeowner come to request dredging? Because I really don't understand how one person would want dredging. Have you ever had an individual?
We've had lots and lots of individuals reach out about the lagoons needing to be dredged.
No, not the lagoon.
Right.
Because my next question is, I live in Shore Acres, right? And if anything's going to have to be dredged, it's going to have to be the entrance to Shore Acres, right there, where the country club is, but that's not their property. That's Shore Acres, right? So if that had to be dredged, you got hundreds of houses over there. Are you going to charge them all $400 a piece?
No, because just like we did with the Nageco assessment, we assessed only the folks whose properties were bulkheaded and on that lagoon.
Okay, I just said there's hundreds of people.
I recognize that. So
what are you going to do if that happens? Because that's going to affect me.
Well, Shore Acres is unique because there's lots of folks that live in Shore Acres and are part of that association that don't live on the water. So that assessment would be handled very differently than the Nageco assessment was. So I don't know how it would be assessed.
What you just said is incorrect, right? I live in the Shore Acres. When I go in and out with a boat, I use that thing. But I'm not a member of Shore Acres Association or anything else. I'm just somebody who lives off of Cedar Island Drive, and all those houses out there.
Right.
So you don't know what you would do when that comes up, that
So
situation.
what I was saying for the association is, in a place like Shore Acres, you could look at it by only the people that live in the water, everybody who lives in Shore Acres, or only the people that are part of the association, because there is association property included in the area that needs to be dredged.
Well,
So there's
when you did
options.
Nageco, you charged everybody the price, right?
That was bulkheaded
Whether they had a
property.
boat or not.
And it was bulkheaded property, that they could have a boat or don't have a boat, but if you're bulkheaded and on the lagoon, you were
So
charged.
there's hundreds of people over there that are bulkheaded, hundreds of houses. I didn't even count them all, but there's hundreds. So you don't know what you would do in that situation.
So they can come individually and bulkhead in front of their properties, or they can get together like we did with Nageco and do a community project. This enables people who are ready and willing to dredge in front of their slips to do that. It's helpful, it's not hurtful, and it's not punitive to people that don't want to be part of the process.
I don't know if you understand what I understand, but let me just say this.
Well, I don't know if you understand what this ordinance does.
There's, in a typical environment like Shore Acres, right? All of those properties don't need to be dredged out. It's only the entrance off to the bay that needs to get, right? And I'm sure all of Nageco didn't need to get done either. In front of my dock, it's 18 feet deep. So it's going to be a long time before that. But on the other end, there's gonna have to be some dredging because even the sailboats have to wait till high tide right now. Am I gonna have to pay for that? That's something, if you don't know the answer to, the mayor's got a little face on it.
We're not looking to do a special assessment. We're not looking to do that in Shore Acres. We're looking to enable property owners that are ready and want to dredge their area, the ability to do that with much more simpler process than is in place now. That's it.
What you've done.
What we've
I'm not
done.
talking about the process, Joanne. I'm talking about the
Well,
fees.
we're at a public
The
hearing
fees,
on
the
this
money
ordinance.
that the township is collecting. They're collecting money for you say because of their involvement, so $400 worth of paperwork. I don't know whether that equates or not. And going to some other town to ask what they charge and then doing the same thing, that doesn't fly with me. I don't care what somebody else does. Are you really spending $400 plus the $5 per cubic yard or the $3 or the $2?
That's a totally
or is this
different
another
process.
money-making scheme?
It's a totally different process, Mr. Finelli.
Yeah, you can't answer my question,
No.
but you're voting on an ordinance to do
You're not
these things.
you're not understanding what the ordinance. The ordinance is just allowing us to go out. Each individual community is going to be decided differently. So we'll take it case by case basis.
But your fees are still $400.
Yes.
You don't know who you're charging those to. That's my
Okay.
point. You just made my case. So maybe you ought to redo this and rethink it, and so it covers everything.
Thank you, Mr. Finelli. Please sit down. Anybody else from council on this ordinance only? Seeing none, close public roll call.
Councilman Albanese.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pontoriero.
Yes.
Councilman Ambrosino.
Yes.
Councilman Minikino.
Yes.
Vice President Zapsik.
Yes.
President DeYoung.
Yes. Ordinance 7-2.
An ordinance of the Township of Brick, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, amending the Township Code to create a new Chapter 277 to be entitled Mercantile Licenses.
Thank you. In August, Governor Murphy signed into law a bill requiring all business owners of multifamily rental units to maintain certain levels of liability insurance through a business and insurance registry. The new law requires that all business owners of multifamily rental units annually register a certificate of insurance with the municipality where the business or rental unit is located. The state does not make an appropriation for the cost to the municipality, and for the cost, municipalities are sure to incur to enforce its policy. A municipality is, however, authorized to charge a reasonable administrative fee for the certificate of registration. The council's Business and Finance Committee is recommending this ordinance to ensure compliance with the state law. Committee members met with the Chamber of Commerce, who supported the need for a license at the minimal fee of $25. Can I have a motion and a second?
Motion.
Second.
Open to council. Close council. Open to public on the ordinance only. Come on up.
I don't have a horse in this race. I just want you to know. However, I'm starting to get the feeling that it's starting to look like my Verizon bill. There's no taxes, but there's 14 fees, and you're adding 2 more fees. Now, if I read this right, they passed a law that you have to collect from people that they have
Liability
insurance. For that, you're charging $25.
Yes.
Right? $25 for them to mail you a piece of paper and say, I got insurance. That doesn't sit right with me. But what really doesn't sit right with my question is, we spoke with the reps of the Chamber of Commerce, and they're not opposed to this fee as long as it is nominal. So my question is, what percentage of the small business owners and the landlords in Brick belong to the Chamber of Commerce? Anybody have any idea? Anybody want to take a guess?
I know there's over 300 businesses in the Chamber of Commerce because I'm the liaison and I sit at their executive committee meetings.
Okay, how many landlords and small businesses are there in Brick? Have any idea?
I don't know landlords. I just know there's over 300 that belong to the chamber, that the chamber represents the needs of the business owners.
What's sticking to my craw? You make this sound like you spoke to somebody in the Chamber of Commerce and they said, as long as it's nominal, that's okay. I don't think they represent every landlord and small business in Brick.
Okay.
Not even close, because if you got 300, I don't know, anybody have any idea? 1,500, 2,000? The mayor wanted to fill all the strip malls and everything. They're not in. They get another fee, Just another fee on
It's a
top of another
user-
fee on top of another fee.
It's a user
It really
fee.
costs $25 to collect an insurance certificate from somebody?
Yes, because our code enforcement and building department have to go through, they have to send out letters. They're going to start doing it a third of the town, third of the town, third of the town. Then they have to process, then they have to put everything in the system. It's not just, here's the stuff. Our workers have to actually put this stuff into databases and then continually circulate to make sure that they are registered. It's staff time. It's not just, here it is. We actually put this into databases and keep track of it year after year. It's not that
And
easy.
that takes $25 worth to put something into a database.
For our staff time, for all that time and effort, yes. Thank you.
I doubt it.
Anybody else from public? Seeing none, roll call?
Councilman Albanese.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pontarero.
Yes.
Councilman Ambrosino.
Yes.
Councilman Menachino.
Yes.
Vice President Zapsik.
Yes.
President DeYoung.
Yes.
Thank you.
Public comment.
Please note that each person addressing the council during any section of the meeting during which public comment is permitted shall limit his or her remarks to 5 minutes pursuant to Brick Township Administrative Code, Section 2-33B.
Anybody from public? Yes?
Thank you. Mary Buckley, 514 Azalea Drive in Brick. I just have a comment, and after listening to Mr. Bacon's suggestions or questions for the council about the school funding, the Resolution 3, I'm just wondering why nobody answered the questions or attempted to. And number two, why is it so hard that you couldn't have just tabled that resolution to go back so you could discuss it to see if you could make a stronger resolution like he suggested? Why is that so difficult for this council? Not one person did that. And our kids' education are at stake. And I just wish somebody had tabled it so that you could have gone back and discussed it and to see if you'd made a stronger resolution. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else from public? Sir?
My name is Art Hasselbeck. I live at 28 West Pampino Drive. And I just saw this in the paper today about height limits and so on regarding setbacks and accessory buildings. And I see that you had your first reading on the February 28th, which nobody could really get here to express anything because you had the cheerleaders here. And I even left the meeting because there was such a line outside you couldn't even get in. And it was supposed to be the second reading tonight, but I guess you realized that not enough people had input on this. And I have a couple of questions on that. Vince, I believe you were involved with that. Does this include removable sheds that they're talking about on this?
You have to direct the president.
All right, President. Does that ordinance that you're trying to enact pertain to removable sheds that are on property?
Mrs. Bergen?
No, and the reason it's not on for second reading is it has to be reviewed by the planning board first. So after the planning board meets and reviews, it will come back to the council for second
All right,
reading.
because it said here, tonight it was supposed to be the second.
I didn't write what you're reading, so I can't take
Okay.
responsibility for it.
Okay. All right, so that's going to go before the planning board now?
Mm-hmm, correct.
Well, I have other questions about it, which I think they should be addressed before the thing is adopted. Because I don't think enough people really got enough input to have any say for what they're trying to accomplish. But you know what they're trying to do, and not after the fact have to come back and try to fight it down or we're changing an ordinance.
Have you seen it? Would you like me to email it to you?
I would like to have it, yes.
I'd be happy
This is
to.
what I heard in the paper today, and I saw that, and that's why I came, because the city was going to adopt this in here. I guess they got the wrong information. They said they were going to adopt it tonight on the second reading.
And
I know it
I
has-
think it's an honest mistake because that's usually how it works. It's introduced and adopted at the following meeting. However, there's a few ordinances that have to be reviewed by the planning board, very small number, and this is one of them. So I'm sure it was an honest mistake.
Goes to the planning board, then back to the zoning board.
No, it goes to the planning board only, and then it will come back to the township council. But I'll email you a copy of it so you can read it and educate yourself on the ordinance.
You have my email on my card.
I do.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else from public? Sir.
John Sluka, 950 Sylvia Court. I'll read my letter. Dear Mayor Crate, March 8th, 2023. Council President DeYoung and all councilmen, councilwomen, residents of Brick and Ocean County. The New Jersey Turnpike Authority Commission has proven that they will not do the right thing and mitigate some of the ill effects they have brought about to our residents by the destruction of the environment near the Garden State Parkway. The political payoffs obviously must be just too high for the greed of the commissioners. It will take legal action for the New Jersey Turnpike Authority to be forced into doing the right thing for the people. The citizens of Brick and Ocean County continue to be harmed by the toxins, the noise, various dangers surrounding the Garden State Parkway. Fast walls on the Garden State Parkway around Evergreen Woods condo area, Brick High School, Primrose Gardens, Sutton Village, Lanes Mill School, Greenbrier, Town Hall, Birchwood Park are needed, and also in some other areas of Brick as well. These necessary actions are needed to prevent the toxins impacting the residents, school children, and workers. Our representatives need to help the children avoid asthma, help the expectant moms not have autistic children, help the workers and residents of Brick not develop COPD, and help our seniors not suffer and die prematurely. Various studies, including the CACC article, which states that outdoor air pollution is a major contributor to the burden of disease worldwide. This happens in areas where air pollution from industry, power generation, and transportation exceed the norm. This air pollution has numerous serious effects, health effects, including cancer. There is evidence to support the causal links between ambient air pollution, especially particulate matter, with lung cancer incidence and mortality, where hundreds of thousands of deaths are attributable annually. In the pulmonary article, it states that there is strong evidence for the causal relationship between air pollution exposure and all-cause mortality, as well as mortality from acute lower respiratory infections, heart disease, stroke, COPD, and lung cancer. The American Association for Cancer Research tells us that air pollution may be associated with many types of cancer. They say it's no surprise that air pollution has been linked with lung cancer, but new studies suggest the pollution is associated with increased risk or mortality for other types of cancer, including breast, liver, and pancreatic cancer. The Union of Concerned Scientists published an article that states passenger vehicles and heavy-duty trucks are a major source of ozone, particulate matter, and other smog-forming emissions. Particulate matter is responsible for up to 30,000 premature deaths per year. The poor air quality increases respiratory ailments like asthma and bronchitis, risk of life-threatening conditions like cancer, and burdens our healthcare system with substantial medical cost. Since we all know this, why does the New Jersey Turnpike Authority refuse to correct their mistakes? It must only come down to the greed, selfishness, egotism, arrogance, and narcissism, because they will not acknowledge their past mistakes. Should we trust the government studies that tell us that air quality is fine around this Garden State Parkway, just like they told us the air was fine around the World Trade Center after it was destroyed? Or should we trust them when they tell us how great the air is, where that trained a mailman in East Palestine? Our people are dying and something needs to be done. Action, legal action, all action needs to take place by our elected officials. We can't continue to let this harm and kill our residents. People in all of Ocean County need you to take action, including the people of Evergreen Woods, Brick High, Greenbrier, Briar Mill, Birchwood, Town Hall, and so many other areas. And by the way, the Board of Education meetings this Thursday. If you guys want to return the favor and go over there, you can go there this Thursday. I yield back a minute and 2 seconds. Thank you.
Anyone else from public? Yes.
Quick question on the candidates for the empty seat. I noticed they're all women. Is that by chance or by choice?
That's who the Democratic Municipal Committee chose.
Okay, and they can choose whoever they want because
You have to be over 18, a Brick resident, and a Democrat.
That's it?
Yep.
No experience, no nothing? Because I don't recall ever seeing these names or seeing these people at the meetings, but they're going to be, one of them's going to be sitting on the council.
Yes.
Okay. The last one I wasn't going to talk about, but because I'm going to talk about it. And really, it's not about making a mistake, it's about a commitment, all right? I don't know if you're aware. Well, let me tell you, give you a little background. I go on the agenda Monday, do all my stuff. Then Tuesday I go back and I look to see if anything was added or deleted or anything else I want to think about, and then do it. So I did that yesterday, and then when I went back today, around 1 o'clock, the only thing on the website was the first 2 pages of the agenda. All the backup documentation was missing, which was what I wanted to look at. Okay, people make mistakes, I understand that. However, if you're going to put something on the website, you really should look to see if it's complete. All right, so I called up, very nice, explained the situation. I got a commitment that it would be fixed in 15 minutes. Nothing happens in 15 minutes, I know that. So I waited an hour, went up there, okay, what do I see? One more page of backup documentation on a computer, and that was the item that was added, the one about the candidates.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of it was still missing. Now, I understand making a mistake. I understand making a commitment. What I don't understand is doing the same thing twice in one day. You make a mistake and you don't put it up there the first time, and then somebody tells you about it, and then you go and correct it, and you don't fix it the second time. To me, that's unacceptable. And what really bothers me, I'm the only one that brought that up, which means nobody else in this damn town even looks at it. So if you're going to make a commitment to fix something that's got Finelli after it, you better make damn sure you fix it, because I'm going to bring it up for everybody to hear.
Anybody else from public? Seeing none, close public. Mrs. Bergen.
I do just want to congratulate Detective Talty and Officer Gordon on their awards. They're great guys. We're lucky to have them, and I'm proud of both of them. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Crate.
Hi. So it's been a busy last couple of weeks. I've been busy meeting with a lot of different departments. I had a chance to speak with the CFO. We met with the senior advisory group, which was a lot of fun. I sat down with the chief of police. I was at DPW yesterday, meeting with all of those DPW workers who we really appreciate in town, because we really do have the best here in Brick. And today I had the opportunity to meet with the Mayor's Teen Advisory. Those are students from Brick Township and Brick Memorial High School. And it's Pie Day, in case you didn't know, so 3.14, but we got to eat some pie together, and we had some great conversations about ways we can continue to make Brick better for everyone. In the coming weeks, I'll be meeting with our EMS, our code and construction, engineering and planning, buildings and grounds, recreation, our parks department, our senior staff, IT, our clerks, as well as dispatch. So it's going to be a busy couple of weeks, but I am determined to meet with each group and talk with everyone about what they do and how we can work together to continue to make Brick fantastic. Some coming events, we are having our mayor's mock trial here on March 21st at 6 p.m. It's Brick Memorial versus Brick Township High School, and we get to present the Mayor's Cup to the winners, so I hope to see some people come out for that exciting event. And also our Brick Hero Awards are taking place on March 31st at 7 p.m. at Brick Township High School, and that is a really exciting night. We have a lot of everyday people being honored that evening, and we'll have some fun entertainment as well, so we hope that the town will come out to join us in celebrating our Brick Heroes this year. And the last thing I have is I did, along with the chief, our new chief, it was the first time for both of us, we swore in our special police, our new Class 1, excuse me, I'm trying to read my own notes. So our Class 1 police officers this week, and that was really exciting, and I'm pretty sure some of them were, I don't know, really, really young. It was, it was fun though, and I'm very excited for all of them, and I could tell from the ceremony how excited they are to get started as well. So that was a real treat, and I look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks. Thank you.
Mr. Starkey.
I have nothing to report tonight, thank you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk. Mrs. Murphy. Councilman Albanese.
Nothing.
Councilwoman Ponterero.
Oh, I got something.
Of course.
Okay. So first I wanted to answer the questions brought up by Mr. Bacon and Ms. Buckley. I'm sorry to see that they've left before I had a chance to comment, but it is election season, so this happens. But I want to address why I felt personally that it was more important to get our opposition to the implementation of this policy that is going to cost our systems almost a 15% decrease in funding. I thought it was more important to get it out immediately than to work on verbiage. The reality is, I learned in law school, any law can be drafted, but if it's not equitable or fair, when it is enforced, it needs to change. As the proud mom of 2 special needs children in the BRIC educational system, when Dr. Farrell mentions having to cut programs, my heart stops. We have in BRIC an enormous population of special needs students that are reliant upon this funding. I believe that this formula, which it took a lawsuit to obtain, is unfair in its implementation. Given the COVID impact on our children is another basis we should not apply that formula. I can speak from experience. The children are socially behind, and special needs children even more. So I beg all residents of BRIC, stand up, stand proud, and let's tell Trenton this is wrong. I don't care what the law says. The implementation is unfair, so it needs to be changed. That's all I have.
Thank you. Councilman Ambrosino.
Thank you, Council President. Thank you, Mariana. Like so many things, I think we agree on this topic. I want to thank Dr. Farrell for coming out and speaking for our school board to be here. I unequivocally stand in solidarity with them. I also am a parent here in BRIC, and I have not 1, not 2, but 3 children in this school system. I am especially invested in the health of our school district, and I am committed to the health of our school district. Unfortunately, I'm very disappointed with the level of rhetoric that was present in this town council meeting today. Simply put, the implication that we don't stand on the side of our school district is shameful, and I am suspect of its intention. And that's all I've got to say.
Thank you. Councilman Menachino?
Thank you. I want to congratulate the Silver Award Girl Scout tonight. I want to congratulate the Eagle Scout. Thank you for Chief Forrester and Mrs. Bergen for their presentations. I want to thank Wyatt Earp for March meals. And the 2 police officers, they are going to get awards this month at a PBA dinner. And thank you, and that's all I have for tonight.
Thank you. Council Vice President Zatzik.
Thank you, Council President. So we had 3 speakers tonight who commented on the resolution. 1 said it wasn't worth the paper it was written on, and 2 chastised us for not having stronger language. Just putting that out there. The implication behind that the township has not done anything to support the school district is just, it's absolutely false. Quickly checking back through my old emails, before COVID, so I can just tell you what my level of involvement is, but I know that former Mayor Ducey made repeated calls to the governor's office, visits to the governor's office, multiple outreaches. He went on a bus with the students to Trenton to rally at the State House. So I know for a fact that those things happened. I also happen to know that prior to COVID, there were a series of community meetings that were convened at the Board of Education office in the evening around Save Brick Schools. I believe they were convened by the executive PTAs. They were community meetings, they were open, and I don't recall anybody that spoke about the resolutions being at any of those meetings that night. I was there, our mayor was there, our former mayor was there, and we were working actively with Save Brick Schools to get it overturned. We joined the lawsuit to get the school funding formula. So the insinuation that this mayor and council has done nothing is just absolutely false, and that's really all I have to say about it. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to go on a lighter note right now. We have our senior services. They are offering two fantastic programs for our seniors. The first is a Got Your Ducks in a Row. It is a helpful steps to protect your personal and financial affairs. It's a 4-day workshop. Just overview of important areas of finance and legal that as you age, you should become aware of. You have to call seniors to register, 732-920-8686. And I just want to say all of the speakers at these, they're not going to ask you to become their clients or anything like that. They are aware that this is just for the education of our seniors of what they should know for their financial and legal health as they age. And the next workshop we are offering is a chronic disease and self-management workshop. It is designed by Stanford University, and it is free and interactive. You get into groups, and you just go over, you go through and how you manage your symptoms, eat healthier, exercise, problem solve, and just really feel better of your overall wellness as you age. Like I said, it's in a group setting. You kind of hear what this works for this person, doesn't work for this person, and it's very, very interactive. So again, both of these are going to be held in April and kind of crosses over into May. And again, please call seniors at 732-920-8686 to register. It is a financial and legal workshop as you age, and then a chronic disease and self-management workshop. Both great events for our seniors. And that is all I have this evening. The next council meeting we are having is March 28th. May I have a motion and second to close the meeting?
Motion.
All in favor?
Aye.